good, wouldn't it?
There's some way to do somebody.
I need that before. We are still in the life of Elijah, and I played that for a reason. We just went through Elijah facing off the prophets of Baal, which is probably one of my favorite stories. And I'll say this, I've taught Sunday school for a few years. That is my favorite lesson I've ever done. Was the one last week. By far, my favorite lesson. I'm not going to say it's the best lesson that I've ever had or why I'm not that great a teacher anyway, but that lesson was my favorite lesson of anything I've ever taught. And this one starts hitting, and you'll see. How many members last Sunday services? Anybody? Y'all remember last Sunday?
Well, if you'd left it alone, we might have got there today.
But have you ever noticed that when we have those really, really good highs, that there's always a low right after it?
Devil. You don't
I mean, look at everybody got sick Wednesday or this week.
Not everybody.
Not it, nope. Me neither. There was, I think, 10 families that got sick. 10 families that got sick. And I mean, I think it was a good choice Wednesday night doing that because we really didn't need to pass that around. But it was definitely the devil fighting against what happened Sunday. That's all it was. And we're going to learn as we go through this that every time there's a high, Scott was getting ready to bring you one of those. Every time we go through a high in our life, normally we've either come right out of a low or we get ready to go into a low. And it's just like anything that you travel, anywhere you go, it's the landscape of this earth, no matter where you're at. If you go up a mountain, you've got to come back down the other side. And you've got to go to a low place. And this is where Elijah has just went through and seen one of the greatest miracles of the Bible. We've seen that. But we've seen that he brought fire down and that he defeated the prophets of Baal. And he went through all this. And we're going to kind of go through that. And I'm going to read some of this stuff. But when someone achieves great things in their lives, it is usually the result of a great struggle or unrelenting work ethic. You usually don't get there just haphazardly. You've done something to get yourself to where that is. When we come in here Sunday and we had those services, if we'd have been mad at the world and up here with our hands, our arms crossed and mad at that beside of us and going on, and we've seen some things happening here that just were miracles in itself. We've seen things take place. But if we'd come in with the wrong attitude, if we'd have sit here with the wrong attitude, we wouldn't have had that. And so it's got to be on our part too. We've got to be willing to let God work. And anytime there's something great that's going to take place in your life, you've got to let that happen. You've got to work toward that. God just ain't going to do it for you. It's got to be something you've got to be in part of. And we're not talking about salvation. We're not talking about that. We're talking about when we reach that high place. And I know there's notes on Tracy, and you seen it back when I was a real little kid, and she used to be a lot older than me, and she used to babysit and go on. But she used to sing.
Go ahead, Bill.
She used to sing this song, Lord, don't move this mountain, just give me strength to climb. And while I like that song, I always thought, he ain't going to move that mountain. But he will give you the strength to climb. Can he move the mountain? Absolutely. But most of the time, he's not going to. Most of the time, he needs for you to get up that mountain so you can see what he can do. And we miss that so many times. We miss that the reason why God has allowed us to go through this valley is so we can see what's up on the mountain. And we can get up to the mountain and we see where he's brought us out of. And then that is confirmation. This is God. There ain't no way I could have got up there on my own. And so that's what it is not so much, let me say this. it is not so much the climb that is exhausting. The climb is not where you get wore out. It's when you get to the top is when you get wore out. When you're climbing that mountain and you're going through that struggle, you got that adrenaline. And we work, and I was relating this a lot when I was studying this on Christmas programs and Easter programs and things that we have in the church, and we put all this work and all this effort into this thing that we're going to do, and these programs that we're going to participate in, these things that we're going to take place with, and we get and we work and we fight tooth and nail to get this stuff where we need it to be and how we need to get it right. And then we have this thing, and then after that, what happens? Everybody's like, oh, God, I'm glad that's over with. You had that adrenaline to start with. You had that motivation to go, and you had a purpose to shoot toward. And so you fought, and you worked, and you exercised, you got ready for that purpose. But then when that took place, now the purpose is gone, the motivation is gone, everything is gone because you've already achieved what it was you were going to do. Elijah was building up to this. We read that everything that he had done was building up to this pivotal moment of his life, this pivotal moment of Israel's, the church. It was a pivotal moment of their life. This was something where they had to say, choose you this day whom you're going to serve. And so Elijah goes up there, he faces the prophets of Baal. We'll get into that here in a second. But now Elijah's wore out. I mean, he's went through all this stuff with the widow. He went through all this stuff where he was on the run. He was hiding at the brook. The ravens was feeding him. He's going through all these different things that was taking place, all these emotional highs and lows, these psychological, these emotional, these physical, all these things was going on in his life. And he gets up here and he finally has his program or his event, and this miracle takes place. And now Elijah's like, whew. Man, I'm tired. And that is when the devil jumps in. We come in here and we have services like we did last Sunday, and the Spirit's moving, and we're on this big high. And man, everything is just, we're having a wonderful time of worship. We're having a wonderful time of praise. God's moving. We're seeing God do stuff. And then we leave. Whew. Boy, them services wore me out today. Anybody else think that when you left here Sunday? We're just tired. And Saint said, yeah. Now I got you. Because he was riding on that roller coaster high is what you was doing. But now that's over with, and you got to come back down a little bit. Now's when I can get you. Elijah has gone through this. Elijah has seen the miracle of God, and he wore slam out. I wrote this, consider just the last few hours of Elijah's life. Now watch this. He's on the mountain he is called fire down. God has sent fire down, but Elijah was the one who worked. Elijah was the one who spoke. Elijah was the one who prayed. It was Elijah. Imagine his, I don't care who you are, I don't care how much faith you've got. You know Elijah was still going up there going, Lord, please don't let me down on this. Don't you dare. You better set the fire down. I'm going to look like a fool up in here talking about this. You know, they're going to kill me. I mean, I trust you, Lord, but come on now. Don't leave me hanging. I mean, you know he had to have built this emotional roller coaster. He's laughing at them because he knows his God, but I ain't never seen him do it before. So I'm just hoping that he's really going to do this. And so he's going through these emotions. After the fire comes down, he executes all 850 prophets. He's just seen a massacre. After the massacre and all this takes place, and the people say, we're going to turn back to God, we're going to praise God, and Elijah says, well, if we're going to turn back to God, we'll end the drought. And when you read the rest of that chapter, we're going to look at it a little bit, but we're really going to kind of go on. I wish we'd have stayed back, but anyway. He goes down, remember, he prays, and he says, Lord, go ahead and open the heavens and let it rain. And he prays the second day, and he prays the third day, and he prays, I don't know what I'm talking about. And he prays 7 times. And then he tells Ahab, he says, I hear the abundance of rain coming. He said, there's getting ready to be something great getting ready to happen. And And he tells Elijah, he says, you better get on your chariot and you better get back, because when this rain comes, it's going to be hard for you to go anywhere. This is really what he's telling him. I mean, it's nothing great spiritual. He said, hey, it's fixing to get real muddy out here, and you're going to be on a horse, and you're going to be on a chariot. If you don't hurry up and get back, you're going to get stuck out here. That's what Elijah told him. He said, I'm expecting, I didn't see that, it's what it said. It said there was a cloud the size of a man's fist. But he said, hey, it's fixing to start raining. You better hightail it back to the house, because something is getting ready to happen. So he went to a high, he's got exhausted, he's building back up again, and the Bible says that he girded up his loins, and he didn't have a horse, he didn't have a chariot, he didn't have a camel, he didn't have a moped, he didn't have a car, he didn't have a motorcycle. He didn't have anything to ride, so, and we talked about that, he took his robe, he tucked it down in his belt, and he just took off jogging. And outrun the chariot back to the castle. Back to the mansion. He outran him. So he just ran, and we know that was a 20-mile run. So he's gone back. By the time he gets back, it is pouring rain. I mean, we getting some rain now. They've been waiting for this for 3.5 years. Now we got rain. And you can imagine when he rolls up, and it don't really say this, but you can imagine what it would have been like for him to roll up into the city, and all of a sudden after 3.5 years it's raining. People would have been out doing this out in the rain. Kids have been playing in mud puddles. I mean, people would just have been excited, and Elijah, this is the one they knew stopped it, and here he is coming back in. So I think he'd have been a hero. He'd have been a hero's welcome when he come back in. Oh, the rain's coming now. And it says that he went back to the throne, to the place where Ahab and Jezebel was out. All this is going on now within just a few hour period. And the Bible says that Ahab began to tell Jezebel what had happened. And Jezebel is hot. The more he told, the madder she got. He did what? He said, he killed who? He killed all my prophets. Remember, she wasn't there. She wasn't there on the mountain when all this took place. So she's still, as far as she's concerned, she's the head honcho, the pastor of the Baal Baptist Church is where she's at. And you killed all my prophets. He killed every one of them. Elijah, being the great man of God that he is, the great prophet who stood up and faced all 850 prophets of Baal, and stood there and watched fire come down from God, who prayed and seen the rain come again. When he heard Jezebel, I'm getting out of him. I just faced down 850 men, 850 prophets of Baal, and now he's running from one woman. He has fallen prey to self-pity mere hours after his great victory. Let's read what happened. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, with all how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah and said, and here's where it goes, so let the gods do to me and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. She said, I have 24 hours, you're going to be just like they are. You kill them, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to show you. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life and came to Beersheba, which belongeth to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a juniper tree. Another word for that is a broom tree. It's kind of interesting to study it within itself. You can go look that up. It's called a broom tree. He requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. And he lay and slept under a juniper tree. Behold, then an angel touched him and said unto him, arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baking on the coals, and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drink, and laid him down again. And the angel of the Lord came again the second time, and touched him, and said, Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. And he arose and did eat and drink, and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mount of God. And he came thither into a cave and lodged there. Behold, the word of the Lord came to him, and he said unto him, What doest thou here, Elijah? So Elijah's on the run. He's scared. This woman's about to kill him. And he just came off one of the greatest church services he has ever been in. And already within just a few hours, he's already talking about killing himself. He went from as high as you can get to as low as you can go in just a few hours. 1 Kings 18:44. He told Ahab, he said, Go up, saying to Ahab, prepare thy chariot and get thee down, that the rain stop thee not. He told Ahab, he said, Go back. Ahab told Jezebel, now he's on the run. Then Jezebel sent the messenger to him, so let the gods do to me all. So he is way up here in the best church service he's ever been in. And now he feels like everything in the world is against him. And it's a simple thing. He just took his eyes off God. But we're going to look at this and dig into this a little bit. I put this up here. I thought this was kind of neat. William J. Peterson, never heard of him before, but it was in one of the books there. It said, often in God's providence, the highest points and the lowest points are really close together. The highest points of our lives and the lowest points of our lives are usually right there close together. And we've either gone from the lowest part to the highest part, like I said, or we're in the highest part and we get ready to go into the lowest part. And it seems the higher you get, the lower you fall. Why? Because the higher you got, the harder Satan's going to come against you. He said, you're getting a little bit too big for your britches. So Elijah is in despair. The reasons for Elijah's despair. And we can find out why we too are often prone to follow Elijah into the valley of discouragement. A few things real quick that's on your paper there. We won't spend a whole lot of time here. But first thing was his fear replaced his faith. His fear replaced his faith. His discouragement began not when he was on his way back from church. He was on a high coming back from church. He done put in a good CD. He was singing coming home. He didn't have him good. He was still shouting all the way to the house. Just had him a great time with the Lord. But when he got home, he found out that somebody was after him. He found out that somebody didn't like him and that somebody wanted to kill him. And his fear overrode his faithfulness. Sometimes we have this high, and then right after that, Satan will put us in a situation that scares us because we don't know which way to go, we don't know which way to turn, and we get scared, and our fear begins to override our faith. God, I ain't never been here before. I don't know which way you want me to go on this. And God said, what does it matter? Just trust me. But God, I ain't never been here. I don't know what to do. I don't know which way to turn. I don't know how to answer it. I don't know where I'm going to get the money. I don't know what I'm going to do about it. That's where we get, and we get in this thing of fear where we don't understand. And so we allow fear to override our faith, and that's when discouragement starts. And Satan jumps in there and goes, oop, oop, I got a foot in the door. And then his failure replaced his victory. You say he didn't fail. He felt that he had done something wrong. Why would you run for your life? If I'd just seen God do a miracle that was above and beyond anything anybody had ever seen, already, I feel like, well, I must have just messed up because now, I mean, God's moving the way he was moving. Now all of a sudden, I got people coming against me. I must have done something wrong. I ain't doing something right. Because if God was still working with me, man, all this, I'd still be seeing fire coming down from heaven. So why ain't I seeing no fire? Now there ain't no fire coming down. Now I got someone trying to kill me. And she done killed a whole bunch of people, so I know she's serious. His discouragement began. It wasn't days or weeks that fear took hold, but it was hours. He ain't been home from church good, y'all, and already discouragement's moving in. But he done forgot about the miracle on the mountain. He done forgot about the miracle. He just walked through the rain. He still got water dripping off his beard. And already he's got fear and discouragement. And here's where a lot of us come to. Honestly, this is where I'm at. I'll be honest with you. His fatigue replaced his energy. Now, let me tell you what he's done. We just went through all the stuff that Elijah just did in those few hours. Then he ran 20 miles from Mount Carmel to Jezreel. Running. We know that. He outrun Ahab. Now, Jezebel is getting ready to kill him. Now he's running 90 miles away from Jezebel. I don't know about y'all, that's a long way to run. And I can assure you he didn't do it in a day. And so he's just run 20 miles. Now he's running 90 miles. He gets to where he's going, tells the servant to stay there, and he goes another mile out in the wilderness. He is utterly exhausted. He is physically done. He don't feel like he can go any further. He don't feel like he can get up anymore. He don't feel like he can push himself anymore. I have done everything that I can do physically. I'm tired. I just want to sit down. Anybody else been there? I'm tired. That's what I want. I want to sit down. Lord, I'm tired. Please let me rest for a minute. And then his frustration replaces hope. Come on, God. I'm up here 1 minute, I'm down here 1 minute. I got miracles over here, and I got people trying to kill me. I mean, we think life is just supposed to be this great mapped out thing that we can just follow along, and God's going to show us what we're all doing. And we get so confused and frustrated when everything don't go the way it's supposed to. I'm the world's worst. When Elijah realized that it was just one victory, but not the last fight, he got frustrated. God, I thought this was over with. I mean, come on, we just killed every one of them prophets of Baal. God, we just proved your point. We just showed that you are God. God, you had just moved in this place. What in the world? We got to start over again? Come on, God. Can these people not see what God... And this is what I was thinking of. We're sitting in church, and there's people sitting here, and we got people raising their hands. We went to revival some this week over at Mike's church, and Barry Goodman and them, Marty, they're shouting the aisles Friday night. Well, we had this time over there Friday night. But you're sitting there, and some people's going, and you're thinking, for really? You don't get this? Y'all have no clue. Some of y'all get up there and sing and do stuff. Stand up here for one service. And the preacher says this a lot. Stand up here and look out there. My gosh, it looks like everybody's goldfish has just died or something. And mark my words, it's Christmas time. Everybody's going to be testifying about how bad it is. Just watch. Mark it down on your book. People are going to get up and testify. Well, it's really bad this time of year. We got all this going on. Oh, this is so bad. And everybody, we ain't got no money. We ain't got this. We ain't got, oh, it's awful. It's terrible. And all this stuff going on. Listen. People are just frustrated because they don't know what's going on. Well, how am I supposed to praise him when my bills ain't paid? I forgot about my other bills that he paid. I forgot about my family that he gave me. I forgot about the job that he gave me. I forgot about the car that I drive. I forgot about the gas that's in my car. I forgot about the breakfast that I eat this morning. But I'm going to come in church mad because I don't know how I'm going to pay my next bill. And we get frustrated at God, and we get aggravated, and we get tore out the frame over stuff that we shouldn't even be thinking about. And when you get mad about this bill not being paid, Satan goes, hey, what about the other one? Hey, you know, they talking about you at work.
Well, they let somebody else risk.
Yeah. They're sitting here and they get frustrated at God, and then we get frustrated at God, and we sit here and we look at people that's sitting here and we go, why in the world can you not see how good God is? Elijah said, why can't everybody see he brought down fire from heaven, and you still going to fight me? You still going to kill me? You still, what in the world, God? I thought it was over with. I thought the battle was done. Why am I still having to fight? And it messed him up. And he went all the way. He said, if I got to do this all over again, Lord, I just will die. I don't think I can do it again. I can't. I'm tired. I cannot get up another Sunday and go in there and look at them frustrated people. I just can't do it, God. I can't do it. I can't go to church and get excited and shout and praise and have a good time and go to work the next day and everything crash down around me. I can't do it again this week, God. This is where Elijah's at. I said, man, I'm tired, y'all. I've got to rest. He was physically, emotionally, and spiritually empty. And I wrote this down. He was at his breaking point. Look what happened. Well, I think I already put in verses up to see. God said over in 1 Kings, verse 10, one verse on. He said, I've been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I only am left, and they seek my life to take them. God, I'm the only one that's doing what's supposed to be done. I'm the only one working in church. I'm the only one that's praying. I'm the only one that's shouting. I'm the only one that's got my hands up. God, why are you coming against me? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. What's going on here? I'm the only one. And it's what we think in church. Listen, I can't pay my cable bill, and I got somebody over here can't even pay their electric bill and their water bill, but I ain't worried about them because I can't pay my electric bill or my cable bill. We think we're the only one that has any problems. We think we're the only ones that's struggling. We're the only ones that suffer, and we think it's all about us. This is what God told him. Well, let's read this back. But he himself went a day's journey to the wilderness and came and sat down under a juniper tree and requested for himself that he might die and said, that's enough, God. I'm done. Marty 101. I just kind of put that. I'm done, God. I am through. Just leave me alone. Let me go. Let me die. I don't want to do this again. I can't go through this again. I can't. I just cannot deal with this again. This is too much. I just can't do it. Been there. So, how does Elijah's discouragement get relief? And now we look at how God works in these situations. Sometimes we forget this. God, first of all, met his physical needs. Let's go back to our verses now. Verse 5, and he lay and slept under a juniper tree. Behold, and an angel touched him and said unto him, arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baking on the coals and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drink and laid him down again. And the angel of the Lord came again the second time and touched him and said, arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. You notice that angel did not say, get up, get on back over there and get back to fight. Y'all notice that? He didn't say that. Sometimes that's what we say. But you notice God realized where Elijah was at. Sometimes God says, okay, You do. I'm not saying you quit on God, but sometimes we got to rest. We expect people to just keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing. And sometimes you just got to sit down and God says, listen, if you are not physically ready, then there's nothing I'm going to be able to do for you spiritually. He says, you cannot push yourself to the point where I can't use you anymore. And this is where Elijah's been running, he's been fighting, he's been doing all this stuff, and he's ready to quit, and he sits there, Lord, I'm done. God said, just sit there for a little bit. Let me get you back where I need you at. Physically first. He said, let me get you something to eat. Let me get you a little drink. Let me get you some rest, is what he said. God said, I'm going to allow you to rest for just a little bit because I need you to do something tomorrow, and I need you ready today. And so you just went through this. I need you to rest. I need to get you back physically where I need you to be. Now, the church says, oh, no, we ain't supposed to ever sit down on God. You better read this verses. Because he allowed Elijah to sit down and rest for just a time. Not years, not months, not weeks, just a couple days. He said, let me refresh you. You remember when Jesus went to the wilderness 40 days? He didn't go out there and go jogging around the wilderness for 40 days. He was out there preparing himself for what he was about to go through. The men are getting ready to go through a study first of the year, the Wild at Heart study, and it talks about how all the main characters of the Bible, when you go through Moses and Elijah and Abraham and John the Baptist and Jesus and Peter and Paul and Jacob and all these people, they didn't go get help in the city. They didn't go get help at the mall. They didn't get help at the church. They went to the wilderness. They had to go get by themselves with God for just a little bit. And they had to physically get some rest and prepare themselves with God. So he's helping them rest. And then God met his psychological needs. You got some big words today. How about this one? You might know what this is? You might know that word?
Megalomaniac. I don't know what it means though.
Megalomaniac. I had to practice that, y'all. Megalomaniac. I had to practice that a few times to make sure I could say it. That's our big word for the day. Megalomaniac. Nobody really knows what that means?
Describe my ex-mother-in-law.
Does it? The maniac part anyway, huh? Here you go. Here's what a megalomaniac is. And I want you to ask yourself, this is where Elijah is. Have you been there or are you there? Someone obsessed with their own power. Remember Elijah said, hey, I'm the only one left here, God. I'm the only one that's doing what's right. I'm the only one that's trying to worship. I'm the only one that's trying to praise. I'm the only one that's doing it. It's just me, God. I'm the only one in the whole church trying to do anything. I'm the only one in the church who's praying every day. I'm the only one in the church who reads my Bible. I'm the only one. It's just me, God. I'm by myself. Everybody in the church is against me. Every single person in it. They don't like me. They don't like what I'm doing. They don't care about me. God, why is everybody coming against me? Why me, God? Because it's all about me. It's all about me. That's a megalomaniac. It's all about me. It's got to be my way. It's got to be the way I do things. It's got to be the way I think, the way I act. It's all got to be about me. This is where Elijah's at. He said, God, I'm the only one. And you're going to let this happen to me, God. God said, put this verse up here. 1 Kings 19, verse 18. We're going to jump ahead just a little bit. But God tells Elijah, he said, yet have I left me 7,000 in Israel. All the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which hath not kissed him. Now, we know that Obadiah hit 100 prophets, 50 in 2 different caves, so we've got 100 out there. God just told him there's another 7,000, so there's 7,101 people. Elijah missed it just a little bit. God said, brother, you ain't in this by yourself. This ain't about you. When I was in the Army, I was stationed at Fort Benjamin Harrison, Indianapolis, and on our PT and our runs, we used to run from the barracks down to the lake and back. And there was a boy, his name was Jones. I don't know what his first name was. I just remember I loved to run back then. You can't tell that now, but back then I loved to run. And we'd get in formation and we'd start getting ready to walk, and they'd say, Jones, fall out. And he'd be a big old tall black guy, and he'd just get out and just take off running by himself. Well, I think he'd do that. I want to run too. And so that day after PT, I went to drill. I said, drill, sir. I said, what's up with Jones? Why does he get to run? He said, Jones is he's actually trained for the Olympics. He is a professional runner. This is what he's done all his life. Well, Mr. Competitive here. Well, I want to run with him. Meadows, you can't run with him. I said, what do you mean I can't run with him? I can run with him. He said, brother, you can't run. I said, I can run with him, drill. So I'm down there and run with him. He said, okay, we'll see tomorrow. So we go out there and we get in formation and we start walking and then we start double timing. He says, Jones, Meadows, fall out. I look, he done gone. I said, that's all right, I'll catch him. I never did. He went down the lake and back and down the lake and back 10 miles before I could get down to the lake and back. In fact, by the time I got down to the lake, I was about to die. I couldn't catch my breath. And I was in shape. I was a runner. And by the time I got from the lake back, and I'm passing the platoon, they're all doing this and singing their cadences and just going on. And I got back to the fence. I wasn't going back down there and back like you did. There wasn't no way. I was dead. In fact, I walked most of the way back. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't wear myself out. But I learned something. Was that when I was trying to run myself, I wore out really, really quick. But it was really, really weird when you got in that formation with those guys, and you would have 60 guys in a platoon, and we'd start running, and they'd start singing cadences, and everybody's running in place, and everybody were running in step together, and we jammed and going. We run that 5 miles down and back, and got back and was still gung-ho, all pumped up. I was like, wait a minute. I run it by myself and was dying trying to get back, but I can run down as a group, and it don't bother me. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you got to go together. And if we're going to accomplish this thing, it can't be about me. It's got to be about us. Yeah, I can run out here and do things and try to win all the lost myself, try to go do this, invite people to church. I can try to do every program. I can try to do everything that's going on in church. But what happens is I wear myself, slam out, and I'm so tired that I just finally just sit down and say, God, I'm done. And God told Elijah, he said, brother, you are not in this thing by yourself. I've got 7,100 other people that they're with you. And we act like church is not important. Church is so important because that's how we do things. We do it together. You don't see anybody in the Bible doing anything alone other than Jesus hanging on the cross. Even when he sent out the disciples to do stuff, he always sent them out in groups. Always at least 2 or more. He says, when you go do things, you've got to do it with somebody. You've got to have help. He said, I've got all kinds of help here. You just ain't using it. It's not about you, Elijah. He had to get not only his physical stamina right, but he had to get his mind right. He had to say, listen, it's not about you. It's about me. And you ain't all that in a box of rocks. I got a whole church full of people that can help and that can do things. It's about everybody coming together as a group and working for the same goal. He said, won't you go get with that other 7,000 guys and let's see what y'all can do together. And I said, it's all me, God. I'd rather sit here and cry and whine and go on. And God said, there's 7,000 more people down here that you can go get with. So he had to get him physically back in place. And then he had to get him psychologically back in place. He had to get him to realize, hey, this ain't about me. This ain't about what I can do. It ain't about who I am. It ain't about who my family is. It ain't about how much I know. It ain't about how much I pray or how much I sing or whether I can play a keyboard or whether I can teach Sunday school. It ain't got nothing to do with that. All I'm doing is what He's told me to do and what He's given me the talents to do. But the person who stands at the door and shakes hand is just as important as the person who stands up here and sings a song. The person who walks up and picks up the offering plate and walks down the aisle with the offering plate is just as important as somebody's teaching Sunday school. It's all got to work together, every bit of it. And when we get this big I, little you mentality away and get it out of us, then we can actually start getting somewhere. And God says, if you want this rain to fall, if you want this fire to fall, it ain't going to fall just on you. It ain't like the cartoons where you walk around, there's a little cloud over you and it's just falling on you by yourself. He said, I want it to fall on the whole church, but you all got to come together. This is a group thing. So then after he gets him physically right, after he gets him rested up and gets his body back to where he's ready to do something, then he gets his mind straightened out. Now we can start dealing with the spiritual needs. And God made a spiritual need. I've never seen this. I love this. This is awesome. Let's read what it says. He arose and did eat and drink and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights in the Horeb, the Mount of God. The food that that angel gave him kept him for 40 days. Now see that. It didn't say he ate for 40 days. It said he gave him strength for 40 days. The food, we just got another miracle right here. We just missed that and altogether, rode right over. The food that that angel gave him went in the strength of that meat. That meat that he eat, the strength of that meat for 40 days. God says, listen, all I got to do is give you just a little bit. If you'll ride on that, we could take that services as we had last Sunday, and we could ride on that and say, boy, wait till next week. And then we just build on it, and we build on it. We keep going, and we keep going. But if we get tired and wore out and exhausted, God said, okay, during the week, I'm going to let you rest a couple of days, and I'm going to get your mind back right. And then when we come back in here, we're going to go right back to where we left off. Let me read these verses, or this other verse. And he came, well, go back. And he came thither into a cave and lodged there. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him, and he said unto him, what doest thou here, Elijah? Now, I've put that picture up. Mount Horeb is where he went, which is also Mount Sinai. We read that in the Bible. Most scholars believe this is the same place. This is important. And I'm going to do my own little study on this, because this was just, man, this is good. If you read over in Exodus, remember when Moses went up on Mount Sinai, he ran across the burning bush. Y'all remember that? There's a place over there, I'm trying to remember where it's at, near there, where they believe they have a branch of this bush, and they've kept it, and it's lived for thousands of years. I mean, every botanist or whatever you call them, people that study plants and stuff will tell you this plant is over thousands of years old, this one plant. And it's kind of neat, they hang it up there, but if nothing else, it's a good reminder of the burning bush. But this is where he was at. But you'll remember when Moses took off, when he got mad about the children of Israel, when they built the calf. Y'all remember that? We went up, got the 10 Commandments, come back down, they built the calf, and he got mad, spit mad, went back up and went into a cave. Y'all remember that? And the Bible says that God kept him in the cleft of the rock. And Moses seen him pass by in that cleft of the rock. This is the same place. And on that entire mountain, there's one cave. And it's right there. The same cave that Moses went to hide and to get close to God is the same cave that Elijah went to and got close to God and hid. And this cave, I would love to go to that cave and just camp out for a night. Man, listen, just to get away from everything and everybody and everything that's going on and all the struggles and all the problems, and to get in that cave with God and say, God, hide me in here for just a little bit and let me get myself strengthened back up again. And Moses went in that cave and he said, let me hide right here, God. And God said, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to let you see me pass by. And Elijah went to the exact same place over Mount Horeb, this same cave. And want to show you close up the cave here and just say, this is where we need to go. We need to go to this cave in Mount Horeb. And I'm talking, not talking physically, I'm talking hypothetically. We need to go to this place and get along with God and say, God, I'm tired, I'm wore out, I'm weak, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm frustrated, I'm scared, I got all this stuff going on. God, I need for you to sit down with me for just a minute, and I need for you to hold me for just a minute and strengthen me back up because I got a lot to do and I don't want to quit. And I want you to look at the close-up of this rock and look at the close-up of this cave and listen. Reference to Elijah. The ravens will feed me, and his hand will keep me, and hide me till I can go home. I finally made it to the cleft of the rock. I could no longer stand. Times I have struggled to reach that old rock, but He will hide me again and again. Behind my soul in the cleft of the rock, like shadows of dry thirsty land. You notice he said again and again. I've already been to the rock one time. I had to go one time before because I was tired and I was worn out, I was frustrated, and I was scared. And I went to the rock and He renewed my strength and He straightened my mind out. He got me back on fire. But you know what? It don't say I can't go back again. I can go as many times as I need to go to that rock. And I can go get on that rock and I can get hide for just a day or two. And I can say, Lord, I don't know which way I'm going. I don't know which way I'm turning. I don't know what to do. God, I'm scared. I'm aggravated. I'm frustrated. I'm tired. I'm wore out. God, just put me in the rock for just a few days. And let me get close again. This is what this Mount Horeb was about. We need to find a Mount Horeb. And we need to get there. When all this stuff starts caving in around us. And it's not about working through it. As we say, Elijah needed rest, and God gave it to him. Elijah needed psychological help. God gave it to him. And then Elijah needed spiritual help, and God gave it to him. But he had to get his body right first. He had to get his mind right first. And then God was able to use him again. This is where we've got to go. This is where we've got to be. This is where Elijah was. I would love to see that place one time. When we get discouraged and depressed, sometimes we need rest. or a good word of counsel. But most of the time, we just need to find a Mount Horeb and a cave. Get along with God. When we hit that mountain and we got back down that valley, just get with God. Let Him take care of it. Next week, one-on-one with God.